ಸಂಸಾರಬಂಧ ವಿಚಿತ್ತಿ ತದ್ವಯಂ ಪ್ರದೇದಹ್ಯತಿ ಪ್ರದೇಹ್ಯತಿ ವಾಸನಾ ವೃದ್ಧಿರೇತಾಭ್ಯಾಂ ಚಿಂತೆಯ ಕ್ರಿಯೆಯ ಬಹಿ. Now he says, look, if a person wants to literally cut or snap this chain of samsara, the bondage of this sense of becoming, so what is to be done? So one has to be little careful in this regard. So what is to be done? He says that tat dvayam pradahet iti. So he said tat dvayam pradahet iti. And who is that person? Yati iti. So yati means, generally we say yati means a sannyasi, but yati also yatna silavan, the one who is putting effort, the seeker also can be said. So here tat dvayam pradahet, prakarshana dahet. So those two has to be destroyed completely. That is what they say. You have to burn into ashes. How you have to burn it to ashes? That you know. Means you need to really completely destroy. How is it possible? And what are these? Tatvayam. So dvayam is nothing. Please understand. Kriya and chinta. Because Vasana vruddhi etabhyam chintaya kriya bahi iti. Because if we observe, when a person starts dwelling upon, so dwelling upon what? Sense objects. So anytime you start dwelling upon, you need some sense object. Now sense objects are nothing, or whenever you start dwelling upon any sense object, that process of dwelling upon is nothing. That's better word, better way put. It is dwelling upon one's own insecurity. Again, I am repeating. Dwelling upon any sense object signifies that sense object is nothing but the expression of my sense of insecurity. Is it clear? For example, for parents, children becomes the object, sense object where they dwell upon. How my child will study, how my child will settle down, how my child will have this, how my child will have that. You understand? Just example sake I am trying to say. So what does it mean? Whole, like the father or mother, their whole focus is only on child. And of course, interestingly, present day, so they understand there is nothing called wife, there is nothing called husband, so they leave for the child. That's the most painful thing, okay? And finally that fellow kicks, okay, or fellow kicks. That's another story altogether. Now, when a father or mother, or in short parents, the child becomes the dwelling object. So what does it mean? The child is definitely the object of insecurity or not? I hope I am making it very clear in this regard. So that means it's very clear. So whatever sense object we dwell upon a lot, that becomes my object of insecurity. Now if that becomes object of my insecurity, So what does it mean? Now by dwelling upon, I am trying to strengthen my sense of insecurity. Number one. Number two, by fulfilling it, again, not only I am strengthening my sense of insecurity, in fact, I am working only to take care of my likes and dislikes. That is what is called selfish motive. So that is what is being highlighted here. That when a person makes or the person increases dwelling upon the sense object, the process of dwelling upon sense object increases for a person, and related to that the person is forced to act or work or react, whatever. Means when both thinking process and the activities related to insecurity, remember this is very important point. Then you say, oh wow, so this is nice, so not to work. I want a tree, under a tree I want to sit. Please, if you can sit for a long time, that will be great, okay? That's a morning class I have highlighted today onwards, very clearly. This is what I am also going to tell you guys all also. Please, in a day, 1 hour mauna. Every day, 1 hour mauna. Mauna means silence, okay? Physically at least. Mentally you can do, okay? Nothing wrong with it. 1 hour mauna, but with one condition. The condition is, whatever time you fix, today if you fix 3 to 4, you have to maintain 3 to 4 all the time. Not today 3 to 4, tomorrow 4 to 5. Then you can say, no, Swamiji, I do Maunam. Somebody said, I remember, I cannot forget. Just joke is secondly. When we are studying in that time, one person was, we asked him, what is this? You are becoming so fat, you should do some exercise. He said, every day I am doing 3 times exercise, that to half an hour. I said, what? Morning breakfast time, because I am bending down, sitting down and eating. And lunch time, of course, bending down, eating. And dinner, 3 times I am doing exercise. Please don't ask me to do more. In fact, I want to do, but nobody allows me to do that. That's the problem for me. So like that one can say, yes, I do Maunam every day, 6 hours. Well, so let me decide 11 to 5, okay? This is my Mauna time. So why 1 hour? I can go for 6 hours, okay? Please, God's sake, not that is allowed. So 1 hour Mauna, please fix a time. Try to maintain. And unless and until there is some very extreme important thing, there is nothing urgent, important thing, you can break with a very careful way. But for that, you have to do 1 hour japa as a practice. No excuse in this now. Because what happens, only if we talk Vedanta, we are not allowing the mind to train, because you are in your place, I am in my place, nothing is there. So okay, let us listen to Swamiji. Swamiji talks very nicely, let us listen. Wow. After that, things are other way around. So some discipline has to be put. So that's why morning I was highlighting. So now I am repeating here also with you all, okay? Some of you who did not attend morning class. So 1 hour Mauna. Coming back to the point. Why this Chinta? So when you do the Mauna, Chinta will increase, but Kriya will not be there. At least you will not speak. You can say, Swamiji, that's a very good idea. We have decided to do Maunam. Do you know when? Your class time. Absolutely no problem. Neither you can say anything, nor anybody can say anything, because I am doing Maunam and I will attend your class. If you think so, be smart. I don't have anything to say to you, okay? However, coming back to the point. So the Chinta has to be minimized. That's why when we look at our thinking process, anytime. When the thinking process speeds up, you need to understand there is some type of sense of insecurity in me. It's a very amazing point to understand. When the thinking process unnecessarily accelerates, you can use the word. Whenever the thinking process unnecessarily, unwantedly accelerates, it means there is some type of sense of insecurity in me, something wrong in the system. It's exactly like the car, the vehicle. If the engine is hot, you will discover automatically, even if you give accelerator namesake, the engine will move very fast. Whereas when the engine is cool, even if you accelerate properly, engine will not move that fast. It takes its time, because I'll tell you very openly, I also find some difficulties. Do you know? When you start the vehicle and you have to climb up. So engine is not warm up. So when the engine is not warmed up, so after just starting, even if 2 minutes or 1 minute, if you start, even if you put fast gear, put all things, you will discover definitely the vehicle will not able to climb. It will be very tough. Because engine needs some time to warm up. This is one way. Same thing also here, negative way we are looking at. So how engine accelerates when it is hot, or technically is wrong. Same thing also mind. So chinta is to be handled very carefully, please understand. So in order to handle my chinta, my process of thinking, chinta means worries and anxieties, also that is also equally important, no doubt in it. So to handle my chinta, now let me be careful with my kriya, my action activities. Because both are interlinked. So if I cannot handle my chinta, let me be aware, let me put a stop with my kriya. But if I allow the kriya, chinta becomes stronger and stronger. That's why when you get worried, what happens? When you think too much, night you don't sleep, you work. Some people have this habit, you know what? They are restless. Like that they can lie down. In fact, that becomes a dangerous thing. That's why that is how many people die heart attack, because of this reason only. Anyway, however, so then only the person has to understand how. Again, let us read the next verse. We will go ahead. ताभ्यां प्रवर्धमानः स सूते संस्कृतिमात्मनः अनां चक्षयोपायः सर्वावस्थासु सर्वदा. This is beautiful. Tabhyam pravadhamanah sa. So tabhyam means this kriya and chinta. So when these two starts growing pravardhamana very well, they are being nourished very well, automatically sa, that, what is that? Vasana sute sanskrutim iti. So that means automatically Vasana, what will do? So Vasanas will again become stronger, and it will produce what? Sanskruti, its own activities. So that is what the link becomes a triangle. And once happens, says beautifully that That's why what is to be done? That's why Atmana wants oneself. Trayanam cha kshaya upayaha sarva avastatu sarvada. Next verse it will continue. So what is to be done? Now there is no other choice for any one of us. Especially for a seeker, there is no choice. So what is to be done? Sarvada means all the time, in any moment of our given life. We need to work on to destroy this thing. Because if we do not find out the means, ksaya upaya, the means of the destruction of this tree, that to sarva avasthastu, under any sort of circumstances, any time. If we do not find the means to destroy this tree, definitely they are going to take over us. In fact, this is what they do it. You know, I don't know in English because I have to find out this botanical name. So there is one small creeper who doesn't have at all zero leaf, nothing, green ones. And in Orissa we call it as a nirmuli. I don't know how they have it. Nirmuli means there is no root at all, no mula. In Orissa we used to call nirmuli. Very thin one. Generally what they do is a really very nice thing to understand. If you want to destroy some plant, just to throw one small piece on the plant. Looks nice. In the beginning it really looks nice because green color and very thin. And that creeper will start growing in such a no root, nothing. So from the leaf it will start getting it. And you will discover in due course of time, this particular creeper will completely take over the huge plant and destroy it. It's amazing creeper to see. So how this nirmuli, we say no mulam at all, no root, living parasite starts growing with the support of the huge tree. Same thing also Vasana grows within us, with us, by us, in such a way, finally it destroys, and again, if it destroys, we don't mind, okay, better. One problem is less. Problem is again we are going to be born with that fellow or fellow. Vasana is a lady actually, okay? So again we are born in the next life, keeping with the Vasana. That's why in India we have this very good attitude in Hinduism, not India. In Hinduism we have a very good attitude. In marriage, 7 lives, okay? Please understand, you cannot escape. But don't ask me whether it's a first life or last life, okay? If it is, imagine, let me not get it, okay, sorry. Better to keep quiet. Because there are cases you have to be very careful, keep quiet, that is the wisest decision, okay? However, so that's why we need to work at any given situation, how to destroy, how to weaken my Vasana, not strengthening my Vasana. Let us read next. Sarvatra sarvatah sarva brahmamatra valokane sadbhava vasana dradhyat tatrayam layam ashnute. So if we are interested to reduce, so only we have one option. Only one option, nothing else. What is that option? Because the job of the mind is, we have discussed in details. Mind cannot think two things at a time. Impossible. Even if two thoughts comes, there has to be a fraction of second gap. Same time, mind cannot think two things. It is impossible. Mind is here not like lady, okay? Not a multiprocessor, remember this. A lady can cry, also can cut the vegetable, can cook. Not like men, okay? If they cry, they really cry. If they break down, they really break down, okay? So mind is exactly, this is what? Thank God. So that's why what is to be done, he says. Sarvataha, sarvatra. So that means everywhere in all aspects. Brahmamatra avalokanaihi. So when the person starts understanding, seeing Brahman everywhere, so that means when Brahma Drushti comes, that asurakshita bhavana, thus thinking me as insecure, will not exist. Because the two thoughts cannot be together. Impossible. Same time. So that means when a person starts looking at everything as Brahman, that's why in Bhagavad Gita 6th chapter, Yoma Pashyanti. The one who sees me everywhere. And of course everything as in me. So when this vision comes, Samatvam. Now because of this reason, what happens now? The insecurity, or that I am insecure, or you can say in language what we are talking is, I will not be able to dwell upon sense object. It is difficult. So both the things cannot happen at the same time. That's why somebody says very nicely, when there is Rama in the mind, there cannot be Kama. If you dwell upon Rama, there cannot be Kama. Kama means the desire. Either Kama has to be there or Rama has to be there. Don't think that Rama and Kama will be together. It is impossible. And except, also says beautifully, and because of that reason, Sadbhava Vasana Dradhyat, because of Sadbhava Vasana. So instead of this impression that we have with reference to insecurity or association with insecurity, here my association, conscious association with Sadbhava, with the reality, that when it strengthens, then what happens, says beautifully, Tat Trayam Layam Asmuteti. So those three, so who are they? Vasana, of course, Chinta and Kriya. So those three automatically Layam Asmute get resolved. So without your knowledge, it becomes weakened, and suddenly you discover they don't exist in you. In fact, that is what is going to be said called Jivan Mukti. That is what is called liberation. It's an amazing thing to understand this point. Okay? How? Let us read also the next. Kriyanase bhavet chinta na sosmat vasanakshaya. Actually it should be read together. Kriyanase bhavet chinta na sosmat vasanakshaya.
Vasana prakshayo mokshya sajivan muktirishyate.
So that is called Jivan Mukti. So what is Jivan Mukti? You are liberated while you are alive. So liberation is not after death. Nirvana is not after death. If nirvana is after death, I don't want that nirvana. Keep your nirvana with you. Because nirvana means what? Free from affliction. Whole life I am afflicted. And after death, there is a promise I will be free from. It's like, exactly all religious people, whether it's Christianity, Hinduism, Buddhism, anywhere and everywhere, I'm sorry to say, all religions, what they do say? What you deny when you are alive, you will get that in heaven. Somebody said beautifully, why to deny here and to get? And for that logic is, if you deny here for 1 year, you will get there 100 years. Or 1,000 years, you understand? So your lifespan is some 50 to 60 years or 100 years. If you manage to deny 30, 40 years or 50 years after your understanding, now God knows 50,000 years you will enjoy. So that means you are a perfect businessman, you understand? That's why when you go to heaven, you have to create a demand paper. It's like exactly like marriage, okay? Every boy and girl after marriage starts fighting. You cheated me. You promised me this, you promised me that. What is this? Somebody said beautifully, Swamiji, life is not all about looking at Facebook profile. I said, what do you mean by this? Swamiji, in Facebook profile photo, everybody looks beautiful, charming and whatnot. But reality is not that. Reality is entirely different. Swamiji, I said, how do you understand? No, I am learning now, I am understanding now. I said, wow, what a piece of wisdom you gave me today. And fellow talks out of his own experience. Remember this. However, coming to the point here, Jivan Mukti means liberated while being alive. Means the person who is free from all afflictions. And what is that? The affliction is what? So affliction is nothing but the destruction of Kriya and Chinta. And of course Vasana. If you look at our life, there are two types of actions. One is deliberate action. Other one is inevitable action. There are certain things is spontaneous, inevitable. Like opening eyes and closing, breathing, or while drinking, swallowing food. This is very much inevitable, you cannot think of. It has to continue. Now other one is called deliberate. So you put effort. And when you put effort, there is some process is being involved. Involvement is involved. Now this deliberate action again leads to many ways. It can be mechanical, lateral. In fact, most of the deliberate action becomes mechanical. And once it becomes mechanical, we do not know whether it's right or wrong, whether it's healthy or unhealthy. Can you see this point? If you ask a businessman who started business in the beginning stages, first time, now for him it was a deliberate action to do business. Now while doing business, now started to pick up, that becomes mechanical. Once it becomes mechanical, Now the person thinks that going to the business setup is part and parcel of his life or her life. And that person cannot come to a conclusion, neither will be able to understand that whether he or she is doing right thing or wrong thing. Whether it is healthy or unhealthy. It is difficult to understand unless and until there is some knock. And even if the person gets some knock, that moment little cries again continues because of mechanical activities. So here is very carefully used Kriya Nasa. So Kriya Nasa means mechanically I cannot do anything. That's why whenever we develop a habit, any habit we develop, we need to develop a habit in a healthy way with a great attitude. If we don't have healthy attitude, definitely you will discover we cannot have a healthy practice. Please be very careful with this point. If we do not have healthy attitude while developing a habit, definitely that habit cannot be useful or helpful for me long run, or neither it can be called as healthy habit. Interestingly, all our habits, all our activities, that when we start is most of the time out of insecurity, not out of understanding. Whether it is a marriage-based relationship, you know the calculation of the marriage. I am insecure, you are insecure. I am unhappy, you are unhappy. So we think that, I am 50% unhappy, you are 50% unhappy. So we will become what? Now perfectly it will match, so we will become happy. Hey, this mathematics doesn't work, okay? It becomes 100% unhappy. Half plus half. Here doesn't become one. Half plus half becomes what? Two halves. That's why that is called better half, lesser half. And it continues always this way. Remember this point. You have to be very careful. Somebody has used very nicely, better half, lesser half. However, so here said that Vasana Ksheha, you have to really be very careful that how to look at this Vasana, destruction of this Vasana. And when this Vasana Ksheha takes place, Chinta is destroyed and Kriya, then only what happens, it is said that is called liberation, that is called Jivan Mukti. You are alive and at the same time liberated. And that is something to be enjoyed in life. In fact, that is what our target. If really you want to work for something in life, this is what one need to work for, nothing else. All other things are secondary. Let us read the next verse. Sadvasana sprutti vijrumbhane sati yasso vilinapyahamadivasana ati prakusthapyaruna prabhayam viliyate sadhu yatha tamisra. Gives a beautiful example. So how it happens? Says, look, Sadvasana Spruti Vinjruvane Sati, he also Vilina api. And what is that Vilina? Ahamadi Vasana. And how? He says, look, Yatha, as you look at the example, let us look at it from the example, okay? So, Yatha Tamisra. the thick darkness of the night. Viliyate disappears. How? Completely disappears. How it disappears? Aruna prabhayam. The moment the sun starts rising, arunam, that red color. Sorry. So, moment aruna prabha, aruna ninnar come, before sun rises, that's a beautiful way of looking at it. Before sun rises, the thick darkness disperses, goes away. That's why we say, long before sun comes, darkness has to run away. So how it happens? Especially, please understand, nowadays everything light and everything is there. You don't understand the situation. Imagine some 30, 40 years back, 50 years back, or even if you are in a jungle, night you are, there is nothing, you cannot do it. Something goes wrong with you, your health, something. That night becomes a very painful night. If you call, nobody is going to respond. In fact, every second becomes a day. Very painful situation. Only you will be looking at when the dawn, because nothing you can see, only you can see the stars. So through the stars you can count timings, even if you don't have watch. It's such a painful situation because I have seen this aspect, that's what I'm trying to share with you. But nowadays what 24/7, everything 24/7. You can say, Swamiji, night at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, anytime pizza is being delivered. What to talk of anything, okay? Pizza, in fact, night they are more active than daytime, okay? However, he says beautifully, how the darkness is so painful, so also ahamadi vasana iti. The vasana that starts with ahankar, in fact surrounded by ahankar, ego, is same thing. Apti prakushthapi, it is really most intense. That's why in life you can see, the more, instead of more, the stronger ahankar you have, the more pain you have in your life. Who suffers in life? That person suffers who is a ahankari. And whenever you suffer, it is only because of ahankara, not because of anything. There will be pain, there will be difficulties, but not suffering. So suffering comes only because of ahankara. That one has to see very carefully. And more a person sees this. What is there to hold on to? You just allow. What is happen, let it happen. If it doesn't happen, let it not happen. Continue what is to be done. That's why he says beautifully, Sadvasana spriti vijrubhane sati. So when a person starts developing vasana, another counter vasana called sadvasana, related to the reality, exactly like antivenom. If there is poison in the body, you need to take antivenom. So when there is sadvasana, longing for the sat, the truth, the reality, for oneself, and of course spruti vinjruvane sati, when it becomes strong, vividly visible in your day-to-day life, that you are ready to not compromise, you are ready to let it go, anything and everything.
Please understand, that is not compromising. I don't want to say compromise word. Compromise word is a wrong word. You are ready to let it go, anything and everything, for the sake of peace of mind, for the sake of happiness, for the sake of abiding in one's own self. Because we all compromise for the sake of happiness. You understand? Helplessly. You don't have to compromise. Why to compromise? For what? Only a weak person compromises. Have you ever seen a strong person compromises? A strong person never compromises. Why? For what? But a strong person with understanding is a beauty. Strong person with understanding will allow, let it go. So you allow, let it go. And that's what he says. Look, then once you allow this, let it go, how? Because of Sadvasana. And what will go away? Aham Adi Vasana. The Vasanas that is concentrated or related to Aham, ego, etc. And of course, even though they are very strong in me, you will see in the process it is going to disperse like a thick cloud. If there is proper wind, remember, even though it started raining heavily with big drops, but if the wind is heavy, you will discover in few minutes the whole thick cloud will get dispersed. Same thing also, Aham Adi Vasana, which creates darkness in my life, which really creates all sort of issues in my life, can be dispersed, can go away when I am dwelling upon with me my reality. And of course the example here is, long before the sun rises, Arunam, the red color, the thick darkness of the night is no more. That is what called dawn, Usha. Let us read that next. Tamas karyam anarthajalam na drishyate satyudite dineshe तथा द्वयानंद रसानुभूतो न वास्ति बंधो न च दुःखगन्धः. Now the same example little differently, that tamaha tamak karyam, that which is anartha jalam. So tamas, tamaha means the darkness. Tamaha karyam, so the effect of darkness. So effect of darkness you know better, especially the fear, the worries, anxieties, nothing is being visible. What will happen in the night? Here, of course, ignorance and its product, both way you can look at it. Anartha jalam. So that which is the cause of food, a network of anartham, difficulties, in the form of worries, anxieties and whatnot. It's a network. Jalam. And this network, once you are cut in this network, it's very difficult to come out of it. That's why he says, anartha jalam. And he says, look, na drushyate is not visible, not noticed. How and when? Dine se sati udite sati. When the sun has risen. So the moment sun starts rising, in fact long before sun rises, it starts dispersing. Especially you will be able to understand this. I cannot forget. I can share with you with due respect. I think that was my last Gomukh trip. I don't feel like going. I think that's my over. No more. I'll go to. I don't know. I should not say no more. It's a wrong word. I don't feel like. God knows what's going to happen. So I was not interested to go to Gomukh. So some people told me, no, Swamiji, you have to come. If you don't go, we are not going. I said, look, I am in Gangotri, you people go. I'm talking about some 15 years back, at least, 10, 12 years back at least. Yeah, more than 10, 12 years. I said, no, I'm not interested. No, you have to. Okay. I joined. In Bhojavasa, we stayed. So reached, around 5 o'clock evening. So stayed in Lal Baba Ashram. You cannot think of. It was minus outside. There is no proper accommodation. The tin shed, you can lift it. So when wind comes and the blanket, whatever has been given, you cannot think of. Okay. In fact, we did not remove anything, including shoe. We did not remove the shoe. So with the shoe, you have to sleep. Imagine, because we felt shoe is better than removing socks. Okay, you understand? With socks you can sleep, but with shoe we slept. We went one step ahead. However, then we had some food. We went to sleep. In one room we were sleeping. I think we were some 4 of us. Then suddenly woke up one person and I saw, wow, so refreshing. No problem, so night is gone over because so moonlight is so powerful. Oh, now it's going to be morning. Wow, very nice. I said, please sleep. Okay, don't. No, it's over. I said, then he tried to look at, search the watch. He said, no. I said, what happened? Only 11 o'clock night. Now tell me what to do all night. He said, generally 11 o'clock I never go to bed. Now already I woke up, I am very refreshing. Now tell me what to do all night. I said, do whatever, but don't disturb me, okay? And you may believe it or not, night what we had to go through, don't ask, let me not get into. So this is called exactly called tamakaryam, okay? However, coming back to the point, now it says, look, this anartha jala, when it is being destroyed, how? Long before Dinesha, so the sun arises. Tatha, in the same way, advaya ananda rasa anubhuti. So anubhuti means that one should experience of what? Advaya ananda rasa. So rasa means really you can say that, the enjoying that nectar, which is advaya ananda, the happiness that which is free from duality, not divided, not restricted, not limited, free from everything. That experience of ananda definitely happens very carefully. How? When there is bandhana asti, when there is no bondage, of course dukha gandha, not even if gandha means smell, okay, trace of small misery. So that means what? Remember, when the person works on reducing Vasana, and of course along with Vasana Kriya and Chinta, slowly you will discover mind will be better and better. It is a process. Especially you can understand this point. That's why we say very carefully, get up around 4 o'clock, before when there is darkness. In fact, that is the time we ask them Brahma Muhurta to get up because of this reason. When you Brahma Muhurta get up, you take bath and all these things. When you discover how the darkness is slowly going away and the day comes in. But don't be under the bedsheet, okay? How that happens? When you start enjoying that every day. Same thing also when there is a cloud in your life. Any moment you are discover it will go away just like that. That's why a religious person somehow manages life in a better way than so-called thinking person, including so-called Vedantin person. I'm sorry to say. In this regard, I respect religious, even if so-called religious person. A so-called religious person is much better than the so-called Vedantin. So-called Vedantin is good to teach others, not for oneself. Whereas a religious person, so-called religious person, wants to teach everybody and at least something is there in their life, okay? That's the funny part of it, okay? However, if this is the case, what is to be done? Now, nothing to do. We need to work on how to really look at one's own self, observe one's own self. There are few verses we'll be seeing from tomorrow onwards. Please close your eyes. Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vishishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.